Whew, I'm sure that was your reaction after watching the last video. It was definitely one of the longer ones and covered lots of material, but I'm sure also that in the end you thought it was worth it. I mean, like I said earlier, you'll likely want to implement the menu bar in the application you're going to design. There's also one more thing you can do to make your application look more professional. Look at Qt Designer. So we have our menu bar at the top, consisting of quite a few Q menus and a bunch more Q actions. But what do we have right below it? It's a toolbar, or in our specific case, it's a Q toolbar. Let's spend some time with Q toolbar. What is it really used for? Well, I'm sure that you've heard the word toolbar thrown around a lot of times before when working with an application, especially if you're a programmer. Toolbar essentially is nothing more than a container to the already existing shortcuts that you can already find in one of the Q menus. If we look at Qt Designer here, the first Q action we have in the toolbar is a new Q action, but I can also reach that action by going to File and then clicking on New, or by typing the Ctrl-N shortcut. And yes, if you were wondering, these are the same Q actions. In fact, they are identical Q actions. The way we'll add actions to our toolbar in Qt Designer is just by copying the existing Q actions that we have already defined. And remember, those are new, open, save, not really going to copy Python rules for now, and exit as well. So let's first add a toolbar to our QMain window here, and just like QMenuBar or QAction, you won't find it in the widget box list on the left. We're going to add it by right-clicking our QMain window and selecting Add Toolbar. Now you can see that this kind of additional stripe has appeared below. And to actually add the actions to our Q toolbar, I'm going to go down here to the right to our Signal and Slot Editor and change the Signal Slot Editor to Action Editor. As you can see here, this Action Editor lists all the actions we have defined in our QMain window. Let me drag this new Q action, click and drag to the Q toolbar. I'm going to do the same with, let's say, open. Let's do the same with save. I'm going to right click the Q toolbar and say append separator. And finally, I'm going to add the exit Q action. There, wasn't this simple? Right now, you're actually probably thinking two things. First, that this looks incredibly ugly, and second, that it just seems redundant. I mean, why would you want to have one action in two places? Well, for the ugliness part, notice the difference between our Q actions here and the Qt Designer's Q actions. They have all these beautiful icons, and we just have this ugly text here. But as I mentioned in the last video, icons require some additional work, so we're going to leave these as they are right now and come back to them once we've learned how to use icons and other images in our application. As for the redundancy, we'll think of it from a usability perspective. You'd actually be surprised how many people are honestly kind of afraid to venture out to the File and Edit and the other menus we have at the top. Why would you do that when you have a beautiful, well, not really in our case, a beautiful icon that just says new? Why would someone go to File and then be presented with a bazillion of different options and be kind of confused? And honestly, it actually saves time. Why would I want to click twice to get to a certain action when I can just click once? Now, an interesting bit about the Q toolbar, or rather its actions, is that, as I mentioned, they're identical. This means that once we get to the code, we're not going to have to write the same code twice to handle the new action from our File Q menu, this one right here, or rather, the one that pops up to the right, and the new action from our Q toolbar. They're going to be the same, and as such, they're going to be handled by the same piece of code. Well, I hope that this video was kind of relaxing compared to the last one. Now let's look at how we can switch the application current view by using tabs.